Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be reading 3 of my most anticipated romances of 2025. I am so excited to do this video. It was kind of a last minute decision, if I'm being 100% honest with you. The other videos that I have planned for this month have been planned for a while. They've been in motion, in the works for a while. There's some list videos, there's some like edgy, not really, content coming, but I was saved from having to decide what else to post this month by Libro FM. Shout out to Libro FM for giving me ALCs, for allowing me to read things a little bit earlier than I would otherwise. February 1st popped in onto Libro and saw not only was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood available early, so was Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey, and I was like, let's do a most anticipated romances reading vlog and have some fun. So we're gonna read those 2 books. We're also gonna be reading Flirting with Disaster. Also gonna be fun. I really loved, I think it's Say You'll Be Mine by this author last year, but I'm wondering if I'm gonna like this one even more, if it's going to be as good. We shall see. And I'm excited to read these 3 books with y'all because this has felt like the longest year of my life, and we're only a month and a week in. Speaking of being the longest year ever, do y'all remember the TikTok ban? It feels like forever ago, but it's still a real possibility if you remember. There is like a temporary, we can hang out and scroll on TikTok situation going on. Like no final decision I think has been made. There is a possibility that TikTok will be banned. It's kind of wild to me considering that so many social media platforms are collecting our data and our personal information and are facing absolutely no repercussions when that data gets leaked. And it might not seem like the biggest deal. I feel like we hear about leaks happening very, very often. I mean, just a few months ago, social security numbers for like most Americans were leaked. It feels like just standard fare, which I guess is kind of true, but don't think that it's not going to affect you. Someone, could steal your identity. They could open up a cell phone plan in your name. It's not the most fun. Ask me how I know. The good news is Aura, the sponsor of today's video, has my back. They identify data brokers, the people who sell your information, and they submit opt-out requests on my behalf. Give Aura a few weeks and you'll stop seeing your information on these sites when you search, which will lead to less spam, which we also love. Aura will also continuously monitor the dark web for me and alert me if they find any of my personal information. They're gonna let me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or bank accounts. So no more unauthorized cell phone plans in my name. Plus they give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. The Aura app also has a VPN with 100 plus virtual locations. Does your current VPN have all of those features too? You can go to my link, aura.com/chandler.ainsley, to try 14 days for free. There'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data has been exposed. Thanks again to Aura for sponsoring this portion of today's video. And now let's get into the vlog portion of this video. I decided to start with Dream Girl Drama because I have to save the best for last. I just know Deep End is really going to. But my whistle, Pepper's wetting his whistle back there. He is such a loud eater and a loud groomer. He gets himself clean, but he's noisy about it. This book's about Sig, aka Sigma. That's actually not at all his name, but I'm gonna go with it. We've got Sigma and we've got Chloe. Chloe is a harp player, a talented protege who's 25, and Sig is a hockey player who, while successful, is not making as much money as he would like to, which comes in a little bit later. Chloe and Sig end up meeting at a bar, kind of by coincidence, and they have this like deep connection almost immediately. They make out and they definitely want to see each other again. They just don't expect it to be at Sig and Chloe's parents' engagement party. They're not related, I should state. They are going to be step siblings, and this, for them, I guess, throws a wrench in their plans to like get together. And sure, I guess on some level it would be a little bit weird to date your step sibling, but at the same time, does it really fucking matter in this context? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a little bit of a thin reason to keep these 2 apart. But these are interesting because Chloe has never successfully lived on her own before. She is very sheltered. She has never really been able to do things for herself because her mom is very overprotective. And the mom is the one that's marrying Sig's dad. Sig's dad, I guess, is kind of a piece of shit as well. He like seeks wealthy women to marry and like get their money. At least that's what we're being led to believe. Not sure how true that is, but Sig, at the engagement announcement, maybe soon after, eventually offers to help Chloe move to Boston. She is going to pursue more education. I'm not really sure. She's going to be in a conservatory. I'm not sure. She's going to Boston. Her mom doesn't want her to go to Boston because she's like, you've never been out on your own before. And Chloe is very sheltered, like I said. She doesn't know how to do laundry. She just doesn't really understand a lot of things. She's giving very naive vibes. And I can't decide if it's bothering me or not. Like if it's feeling weirdly infantilizing, if it's feeling realistic. Like, does this happen to people? I'm sure it does. But do I want to read a romance like this? It's a little bit weird. Like I'm all for heroes like stepping up and helping lighten the load for heroines. I'm not sure if I want them to step in as like a parental figure. Okay, so did I say that that Sig is offering to like help Chloe because he's in the same city that she is, I guess. I'm pretty sure he like pays her rent. She knows that, but he pays her rent and he checks in on her and he helps her, and I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not like upset at it. I was interested in this dynamic when I got a glimpse of it in the last book in the series. I think it was the Au Pair Affair. That one was fine. I did not like Fangirl Down, which was the first book. This one, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Conceptually, it's a little weirder than I had anticipated. I did like the whole idea of like a forbidden romance. I love that trope, but did we have to make Chloe quite as sheltered and quite as, I don't want to say incapable, but like inexperienced as she is? I'm not sure if I love that. I do like the sexual banter that's going on. I don't know if this one's weird. And it seems like a lot of the Goodreads reviews agree with me. Yeah, I've just been feeling pretty tepid about it. I'm not mad. And you know, if the sex is really awesome and our heroine like grows a lot and to like stand on her own 2 feet and like doesn't want this guy to pay her rent for her, that would be cool. I mean, here's the thing, like paying her rent would be paid would be cool, but like the more time goes on, can I just state for the record, I think that everybody should have financial autonomy. Sorry if that's controversial, but I worry a little bit about her. I'm gonna go. She's a fictional character. She doesn't need my help. You know, she's probably gonna get digged down good. She's already had her tits slobbered on in typical Tessa Bailey fashion, but you know, I worry about her. I worry about her as a character. It's the end of the road. Not for the video, but for me and Tessa Bailey. Thought about this after I finished the book and kind of sat with it for a little while. I think that unfortunately the books that she's publishing lately are just not my speed, and I don't know if they ever will be. I think it's a situation for me where if someone convinced me to pick up another like new book by her in the future where she returns to some of her earlier works where she focuses more on character development, maybe I'd be convinced. At this point though, I'm just gonna have to say no thank you, which is so disappointing because I loved It Happened One Summer. That book connects with me on a lot of different levels, and I was so impressed with the over-the-top, dirty talking Tessa Bailey good time. Also, the fact that we had real character development, we had a real plot line, we had things happening in the book other than just fucking. And in this book, yes, it's a little more smut heavy. Yes, it's a little bit more lust forward. It's not even that bothers me. It's that I could see there were concepts of a plan in place. Tell that was trying to give these people like real characteristics, but nothing came of that, in my humble opinion. Like our heroine, she is someone who is completely sheltered, completely naive, and yes, she's living on her own. She undergoes very little in the way of character development as the story goes on. Our hero, I feel like I could sympathize with him maybe a little bit more, but he was pretty lackluster as well. I think I'm just over the like timid or naive or sweet heroine and the kind of grumpy, gruff, like chest pounding, I'll protect you from everything kind of dude. I bitched about this yesterday. Okay, this is nothing new. I just expected more. I expected it to go somewhere and it didn't. It just felt so flimsy, and it's like, what's the point? You know, if you just want to write like rom-coms with smut, I'm not going to be rash here, but like don't even bother. Like don't even bother trying to add nuance to your characters, because the nuance doesn't mean much if you're not going to do anything with it. And is it that serious? No, it's not that serious, I guess, technically, but like I do review romance here, you know? I am critical of it. Tessa is capable of more. This is disappointing. This whole series is disappointing, and I think I'm done. Good news is I've moved on to Flirting with Disaster. I read the first book by this author last year. It was called Say You'll Be Mine. Gave it 4 stars. I thought it was excellently done, even if it wasn't like the swooniest romance. I loved the elements of culture. This is also fun, and it's set in my hometown. I love that. Flirting with Disaster is about our 2 main characters, Mina and Nikhil. Mina is an attorney in DC, and she got, I don't want to say surprise married. Isn't really a surprise. She eloped in Vegas with this guy that she had known for very long, Nikhil. Years later, she's trying to get a divorce from him so that she can become engaged to a different guy who she's presently not with. They're actually broken up. It's going to help her political future potentially, right? She's an attorney, and I think her new man, Sheikh, like wants to be in politics, and I think she kind of does too, so she needs to get a divorce and then maybe get engaged to this guy, even though they're not technically together right now. That distinction, I think, is kind of silly, and I think the author probably did that so that we wouldn't feel so bad when our heroine, like, obviously stays with Nikhil and doesn't end up with Sheikh, but it's like, it would be fine if they were like engaged and on love. That would have been okay. Anyway, Mina's in Houston trying to get a divorce from Nikhil, and this is pitched, I believe, as like Sweet Home Alabama meets Houston or something to that effect, and that's the vibes that I'm picking up. Mina is actually stuck in Houston for only about a chapter because there is a hurricane heading to Houston, and they have to face the storm together and also maybe lingering feelings for each other. So I'm 100 pages in, and I'm enjoying it so far. I am enjoying the way that Mina is seeing Nikhil, she's like, wow, he's kind of filled out. Wait, he kind of looks good. Wow, he has like a beard. I always told him he should grow a beard and he never listened to me, but like he looks good as fuck. He is a little more soft-spoken. He's definitely not as upfront with his feelings, and she feels that he is the reason that she left in the first place. They underwent some like hard things together, I think. Mostly like her not passing her bar and like not successful at the beginning, even though he seemed like he had his shit figured out. He like wasn't there for her like maybe emotionally like she wanted. There's definitely stuff that we're going to learn, I think, as the story goes on. But interesting concept. I think I like this. Like, we were married in Vegas, we had a house together, but you know, we no longer live together. I want to know like why she left and like how long they've really been apart. I don't think I missed that. Like, I don't think I missed why they were apart, but so far so fun. I'm enjoying this. This is already more substantive than the Tessa Bailey, and those books, like, come on, they're not trying to be comparable. But that being said, I'm gonna compare them because they're contemporary romances that I'm reading. So far so good. I'm going to keep reading this one, and kind of forced proximity situation going on, you know? She's like in this house with boarded up windows, the waters are rising, and it's not, I mean, that's not sexy. Like, hurricanes are not sexy, but you know what I mean? Like, in this forced proximity situation, it's sexy. Hello, divas. Sorry if you can see my ceiling fan in the back. It's like 80 degrees in Texas, so. 200 pages in, so I got an additional 100 pages in. I've also secretly been listening to the first 30% of Deep End, and let's talk about this, shall we? I'm giggling, I'm kicking my feet. This is really cute. I am having a stronger reaction to this one than I had to Say You'll Be Mine. I feel like the swoon factor is definitely there. Our hero is being more forthcoming with his emotions and his feelings, and we have a moment where our heroine is like, I don't want to say sick, but yeah, I guess she has like a fever. She's a little bit like, not hallucinatory, but he is saying things or like admitting things to her while she's kind of like in and out of it, and then when she kind of comes to, he just like shares more about his thoughts and feelings and kind of like, not why their marriage has ended, but kind of, he's just being a lot more honest with her, and I just think it's really sweet, just like Pepper. It's very sweet, just like Pepper. And at first I was kind of feeling unsure about Nikhil as a character. Like, I liked his sort of like softness. I liked that he was soft-spoken and not super in your face. I prefer that over like a grumpy hero any fucking day. I do think that it could have been a problem, considering that my issue with the last book that I read by this author was not that her characters were bad, but that I wasn't feeling a lot of like heart and emotion and swooniness and like, oh my god, these two would die for each other. That's like what I'm looking for in a romance personally. This, I'm feeling more of that. He loves this woman. He does not want this woman to leave, and I think he's trying to do some calculations in his head on like how to get her to stay in Houston, or how he could maybe like get to DC, though he does have some professional ambitions that are keeping him like in the Houston area. I just love that. Like, I just love the way that he loves, and I also like that our heroine knows what the fuck she wants. Like, she's considering not moving to Houston necessarily, but like there's an opportunity for her potentially in Houston. Like, I'm sure they're gonna work it out. Like, I'm sure they're gonna end up together or whatever, but I like that she's not gonna have to give up her professional ambitions if she comes to Houston. That was something I was scared of. Like, they both seem to have very strong lives and careers, and I didn't want either of them to have to like give that up to be with each other. I never think that's a recipe for success, to be honest. I think it's a little bit of a cop-out to have like a heroine who just like doesn't know what she wants. Then she becomes a nanny and she's like, oh, I just really love this guy and his kids, so I'm just gonna like bebop around. I don't know. It can work sometimes, okay? It can work sometimes. I'm not saying that's an invalid life choice. I don't like to see a lot of professional compromise in relationship. What is it with me in this video? Like, just being very forthcoming about that. I just feel like people deserve their autonomy. Like, you could be in a healthy relationship supporting each other and supporting each other's dreams. That is important to me. That's gonna color the way that I read books, okay? So I like that they're not giving things up for each other. I mean, granted, they're probably going to like have to come to some compromise if they stay together, but oh, also there was fucking. Yeah, there was. It wasn't super graphic, but it was definitely an open door scene. You could see how they connected. And you know, I'm really starting to appreciate that. Like, an open door scene that is not all about like he spurted uncontrollably at throbbing members. I don't hate that. And like, if I were to write a book and if I were to write a sex scene, like, yes, I'd probably write with that language, but sometimes I like something that's like, yes, we're seeing how these people are connecting, but it's not like he plundered her squelchy folds. I don't know. Pepper looking his ass back here. Okay, I'm gonna finish this and then we have to talk about Deep End. I have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts, you guys. Also, I was gonna apologize for like staying in here, but January depression. I think I already talked about it in my last video, but I'm doing what I can. I am doing what I can. I tell you a secret, by the time you see this, it won't really matter. Hayden, my husband, has been gone. He's been gone. He's in another country. He will have been gone 10 days by the time you see this. He's coming back on the 10th day, but I am alone. The only people I've had contact with, 3 people. My Pilates instructor today when I was telling her I have scoliosis, the car hop at Sonic who was handing me my mozzarella sticks, and my sister on FaceTime. I'm going a little crazy, but at least I have my friends to keep me company, and I've got a lot of fur friends to keep me company too. That makes it sound like I have friends that are furries. I do not. I'm talking about my cats and dogs. Okay, goodbye. I shifted the camera a whole inch to the side. I finished this book. I want to talk about about the next book, okay? I do. Not to say this wasn't good. This is actually phenomenal. I'm gonna give this book 4 stars, which is what I gave the last book from this author, and I think that I technically liked this one more, but this wasn't quite 5-star material. That being said, I thought it was really sweet. I like the choices our heroine made. I think that the things that she did felt very realistic, and I liked seeing her end up with her boo. My only complaint, and this is the same complaint that I had with the last book from this author, her debut, is that there's just something missing, and I can't quite put my finger on what, besides a swoon factor. And there was more swoon here, which is why I liked this book more. There's just something missing, and I think to me, it's maybe a little bit more of the internal dialogue of the characters. I didn't feel like this was super personal. I kind of felt like I was watching things happen to 2 people that I don't know. Something like an Allie Hazelwood book, I feel like I know those characters immediately because she gets us inside the heads of her characters. And that obviously is going to differ from author to author. I'm not asking everybody to be Allie Hazelwood, although if everyone was, that would be fine by me. That being said, I think that I would have just appreciated that like closeness a little bit and maybe some emphasis on some different aspects, right? Because here it was like career with tiny bit of family in here. When I say family, it was more like our heroine didn't feel comfortable introducing her husband to her family. Ooh. And that was pretty much it. And that doesn't even really get resolved. So I wanted there to be more than just the careers, you know? I wanted to see more flashback moments between the 2 of them, maybe just something to add a slightly more personal touch to this. But I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really solid romance. Love the concept of it. Love that it was set in Houston. And yeah, there were just a few scenes in here that like really hooked me. I love a good caretaking moment. I love sweet confessions from men. This was good. What else is good? In a very different way. Not only in a different way from this book, but in a different way from all of Allie Hazelwood's other books. Deep End. Okay? No idea what to expect going into this one. I think at this point I've read everything that she has written. I've read all of the novellas. I have read that Spotify exclusive thing that is no longer Spotify exclusive. You can get it on Hoopla. I've read her YA novel. Know me some Allie Hazelwood, okay? This was not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but from the synopsis, I was expecting something a little different, but I'm not mad at what we're getting. So this book's about our 2 main characters, Scarlett Vandermeer and is it Lucas? Scarlett, known to her friends simply as Vandy, is a diver, has an interesting past. I don't think she reads quite as troubled, I would say, or as withholding as the heroine of the last Allie Hazelwood book. At least I think it's her last one. Not in love. Not quite that level. Our heroine in this book has some trauma in her past. She is a diver. She has recently been injured and she is back from injury, but is still having trouble getting back to her sport. She doesn't have the twisties or whatever, but she's just having a hard time getting back into some of the skills that she used to make getting into the water. And there's also just some, I don't want to say upheaval, but some changes to the people that she's been diving with. Like people have left, people have gotten injured, and it kind of has her shaken. On top of this, she's realizing that she has not really made a lot of friends in college, even though she has like a roommate that she's, you know, cool with, but that's changing. That's changing in this book. And I think it's kind of an interesting opening to an Allie Hazelwood book. It feels like a slower introduction to the characters, to the place, to the plot, than anything I've ever read. And so I was a little bit, not taken aback, but a little confused when we learned who the hero of this story was. And in the synopsis, it says diver and swimmer. And so I knew pretty immediately who the hero would be, but I was a little interested in how we'd get there, okay? Because this guy is dating our heroine's best friend. I mean, does she really have a best friend? I thought that was an interesting choice by Allie Hazelwood. I don't mind the drama. I'm not mad at it. Essentially, our heroine's roommate has been dating this guy for a while, and she found out, maybe semi-recently, or has just kind of, it's been weighing on her, that they don't have the same sexual compatibility. This guy is into kink, and specifically like sub-dom relationships, BDSM, that sort of thing. Penn is like, I'm not really into this. Like, I just don't think I can give him everything that he wants, even though I love him and we're best friends. Like, I just don't see this working. So she breaks up with him, and she is like off dating, I think like a TA for one of her classes or something. Like she's kind of going on her merry way. But it also doesn't feel totally like they're out of each other's lives. So it feels weird when Penn basically says drunkenly at a party, still kind of reeling from the breakup, even though she initiated it, y'all should fuck, because she knows that our heroine is into kink. And the reason that she knows this is because she like confided in Scarlett. She was like, I have to tell someone this, like he's into kink, I'm not into it, I think I'm gonna break up with him. And she's like, oh, you're not into that, I'm into that. And anyway, Penn takes this with her, she's drunk, she's like, hey, y'all should fuck. She tells them at this party and they're like, thanks for trying to set us up, I guess, like that's weird. But then later on, he hits her up and is like, hey, I guess if you ever want to explore that with me, that'd be tight. Like he emails her this. And by he emails her, I mean like Lucas or whatever emails Scarlett and says that. Yeah, and I was like, okay, interesting setup. Then something happened around like the 30% mark of this book. It's the little moments in Allie Hazelwood's books that just really do it for me, that just really have me like making faces, gasping, like giggling, kicking my feet. It's the way that she is able to right chemistry. I'm sorry, she's really fucking good at what she does, okay? Honed from years of fanfiction writing. And I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for like making things for me in a time when I am not enjoying many things. It just feels good to enjoy something, okay? Gotta be real candid here. I'm not normally that candid here. I'm normally really candid on my other channel, but I need this. I needed this. This was just what I needed. And I don't necessarily share the proclivities of the characters in this book, but I can appreciate it. I can appreciate it, and it's not done in a 50 Shades sort of like titillating / incorrect sort of way. Granted, we haven't even gone to the scenes yet, you know, which I'm sure are gonna be really fun, but it feels like two characters that are gonna explore and have some fun together. I just really like this hero. He's similar to other Ali Hazelwood heroes, but he's also incredibly different. I find that interesting. I personally find that very interesting. And I know I just spoiled a decent amount of this book. I am 30% in, but I don't really see any of that as spoilers. Yes, some of this information is withheld from us. Sure. In the synopsis, right? Like, we don't know that there's like someone who has been dating this man, but I don't think I'm really like spoiling anything to say that there's kink in this. But I mean, is there spoilers? Or is there a content warning at the beginning that there's... Anyway, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Can I just share my thoughts freely? Can I just share my thoughts freely? I know some of y'all are gonna be mad, and I will have spoilers in parentheses, real big. Sorry, this one, I just don't care. When I'm excited about something, I'm going to share it. And I don't know why I'm trying to justify this. I'm gonna go listen to some kinky shit. Good morning and Merry Kinkmas to everybody that celebrates, I guess. Hair's looking absolutely stunning today because I took a shower. So you're welcome. In the next clip, I'm gonna look like a completely different person. So prepare yourself mentally for that. This book is so good. I'm loving it. I didn't expect to love it. Again, I am not really like picking up books looking for like kink exploration. It's not that I don't want to read anything but just like generic, you know, whatever. I wasn't really like, you know, looking for that from Ali Hazelwood, but like I just think that I was gonna say she can do no wrong. I don't know if that's true, but I do know that I am eating this shit up, and I wish that I had like really profound critical things to say, but I don't. I will say there's a moment, I'm not gonna spoil because I think that you just need to get there yourself. There's a miscommunication moment. The way that she presents that miscommunication is through a third character presenting information that our heroine previously did not know. It was just such a brilliant way of revealing that information to us, and it felt like a reveal. It felt like, oh, okay. I don't know what to say, because it's like, I want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. I think I'm going to spoil it. You know, I said, I went on a whole rant when I first started talking about this book that I was going to spoil it for you, and I'm not going to. I'm actually not going to do that because I'm feeling generous today, actually. Also, it's like, is there that much to spoil in a contemporary romance where they're exploring kink? I don't know. I mean, I guess I could tell you all the kinky things they're doing, but like that wouldn't really, I feel like, be much of a spoiler, but also like, I'll let you figure shit out for yourself, okay? I will. It's just going to be me gushing, I think. I'll and in the next clip. Okay, BRB, I'm going to look cute in a second. All right, hopefully we're not hearing too many ambient shrieks. I think my next door neighbor kids are running around having fun. And you know what? I have to respect it. They're not inside playing on iPads, so we're gonna let them live. I'm gonna try to live and tell you about Deep End, okay? I loved it. I loved this book. I don't know if I would say for sure that this is like my favorite Ali Hazelwood book, but it's definitely up there. I think what really made this perfect for me was that it throws down fucking bad for the heroine. And yes, you could say that about every Ali Hazelwood book. I understand that, but like this guy was so committed. And something that I don't feel like I see as often in her books is talks of the future. I don't think that's necessary in every romance, and I think that it might be more realistic in some ways to not have everything figured out, because most romance novels, right, like it's characters getting together, maybe saying I love you by the end of the book. Not every book is going to have like a marriage and babies or like a really resolute sort of conclusion, and this book didn't necessarily have like a marriage and babies at the end or whatever, but I felt like there was more discussion of a shared future, especially considering the career paths they were trying to go down. Like they could be challenging for sure to like try to attempt without having a true discussion. It wasn't just assumed like, oh, okay, like we're together now, we're gonna stay together forever. They were both trying to go to medical school. Like that's kind of complicated. They worked it out, and I mean, come on. I loved it. I loved this book. It was so fun. Also, something I want to clear up, not that I think anyone's really gonna be pissed off about this. Maybe you will. I don't really care. I'm gonna say it. I think I got confused at the beginning of this book. I said that Pen was our heroine's roommate. Not true. That's actually not true. Pen is just someone on the diving team heroine has a lot of contact with because she was dating Lucas, not her roommate. Hopefully that clarifies things. I don't want y'all to think I didn't read the book. If there's anything that I'm tuned the fuck into, it's Ali Hazelwood's books. I'm trying to think of anything else noteworthy. I will say, kink wasn't as kinky as I was expecting. Like, I thought there were gonna be like 50 Shades, like, you know, Red Room kind of situations. There really wasn't any of that. So I wanted to tell you that in case you were someone who's like not into that, you're trying to avoid that. It doesn't really do that. It's more just like an exploration, I would say, of like dom sub relationships. And I think like the sex wasn't particularly like, say it wasn't wild. Everybody's version of wild or definition of wild is gonna be different, but I feel like this was like super super out there. It wasn't like I'd never read anything like this before, so if that was scaring you away when I said kink earlier, I think you'll be fine. I honestly talk about this book forever. I could gush about it forever, but like, I don't think I need to. I think you should just go and pick this book up for yourself. I really, really think you should. I enjoyed so much of this. I loved seeing our heroine's character journey. I should also point that out because y'all know how I feel about characters. Did a great character journey. I loved seeing her kind of overcome some of her fears, go for what she wanted, admit some of her feelings. Again, didn't have the same kind of trauma as the heroine in Not in Love, but she did have things to overcome. And so that was nice to see. It was nice to see her just be able to like dive into the deep end, you know what I mean? Okay, that's it from me, I think. I had a fun time with this video. Like, Tessa Bailey book, yes, a disappointment. I think I could have anticipated that for sure, but I loved Flirting with Disaster. I thought that was a whole lot of fun. Definitely want to check out. I feel like it's not gonna fly under the radar, but it's not gonna get the same buzz as an Allie Hazelwood book, so definitely pick that one up. But also pick up Deep End, okay? Pick up Deep End, and I wish that I had my physical copy. And can I just say, for the record, all I want to do right now is just like restart the book, and I never feel that way. I never feel that way. I'm never like, oh, I finished it, let's read this again immediately. That's how I'm feeling with this one. So I had a good time. These are my most anticipated books. And you know, striking out, I think is okay. I think it's okay to have one strike out when the other two are like bangers. So hopefully I'll do another one of these videos in the future. I mean, I probably will. You know, there's other most anticipated books for me. I think I did a list of 25 at the beginning of the year or the end of last year. There's more to come, you know, but it is only February, so it's gonna take a little while to build up a new list. I had a fun time. Thanks for watching this. Love you all so much. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read Deep End or any of these books and what your thoughts and feelings are. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.